So most likely you've crossed paths with this video because you either have very, very, very large aspirations to be financially successful, or you have financed a really, really expensive vacation that you decided to break the payments up on, or you decided that you had to have that really large target order and you were going to break the payments up to make that order happen today. Regardless, you've probably run across this video because you're trying to figure out how to establish a healthy credit profile and a very high healthy credit score. So regardless of me disagreeing with your decision on what you decided to finance, I'm going to help you do that today. In today's video, what we're going to do is cover why is credit everywhere in our system. We're going to cover how to play the credit game and to be successful at it. We're also going to cover a quick strategy on how to take some immediate cash that you may have available to you now or can quickly save and access and turn it into a healthy credit profile in a very short window of time. And we're going to cover where to go to do so. So let's get started. Credit is the heartbeat of our financial system in this country. The reality of it is every dollar created was created out of debt. It was borrowed into existence. And this really came into play in 1971 when we were taken off of the gold standard. It's a really long story, a really deep history that's probably not extremely relevant to you at this point in time because it doesn't make a difference on your success or where you're headed or what you're doing. If you're interested in that history, you can let me know in the comments and we can dive deeper into how that came into play. But for now, that's something that you need to understand. It's not going anywhere. Needing credit is only getting more pervasive. It's only getting, more apparent throughout the financial system and generally throughout our society as a whole. In order to successfully play the credit game, you have to demonstrate that you can effectively borrow people's money and return it to them on agreed upon terms. The more often you do that, the stronger your credit profile, stronger your credit score is going to be. So what does that mean? You have to get in the game and you have to play, and you have to do it very consistently. The more credit you demonstrate you can manage, the more successful you're going to be at building a healthy credit profile. Once that door is kicked open and you have a healthy credit profile and a healthy score, there's almost nothing you can't accomplish in this economy, and your day-to-day life is going to function so much smoother because you know that anytime your credit comes into play, that it's healthy, it's strong, and that you're going to get access to whatever it is that you're trying to get access to. So I want to demonstrate a very simple strategy that will help you take a reasonable amount of capital that most people either have access to or most of you can get access to save up in a pretty reasonable amount of time. But first, I want to quickly cover, just a quick breeze through on what factors influence your credit and then why this tactic I'm about to show you can be so effective. Credit is made up of a few key components. It's basically an algorithm, a mathematical equation of sorts. Your payment history is going to be the biggest. Credit utilization, which breaks up into several subcategories, is going to be your next biggest. And then depending on the model, you could be looking at factors like age, credit mix, as well as inquiries, how often your credit is checked or pulled. These are the determining factors. This is what you're gauged and graded by when your credit score is put together. So what I'm going to teach you right now is how you can take as little as $1,000. Obviously, if you have more, this can be even more effective for you. And maybe even if you have as little as $500, you can still exercise this strategy to a lesser degree. But we'll stick to $1,000 for this particular example. With $1,000, you can effectively create at minimum at least 4 different trade lines on your account overnight. And if you do the strategy the way I'm about to teach it to you, you can potentially do so without incurring any hard inquiries, which will allow you to check pretty much every box on the algorithm for your credit score, minus age, which is going to come into play later on. We'll cover that in a minute. So how do you take $1,000 and turn it into a high credit score, or at least a strong credit profile and a foundation to a high credit score? Well, what you need to do is first establish a healthy banking relationship with ideally probably a local credit union or small financial institution. Why do I say that? Why not your big box bank? Why not your bigger regional banks? You need specific products for this strategy to work. And those products are going to be secured lending products, secured credit cards, secured personal loans. Yeah, that's right. Old Faithful. You've probably heard this, these different products talked about in the past. In some cases, they don't get as much attention because everybody's chasing high limit unsecured credit cards and different things of that nature. The reality of it is secured loans and secured credit cards are still very effective financial tools in the system today, and a very effective way for you to not overcomplicate building out credit profile. So you need a small local bank or a small, local credit union or a larger credit union. This works fine at a Navy Federal credit union, if you have access to them. But the reality of it is they have to have personal secured loans and personal secured credit cards. These products, you're going to take that $1,000, and what you're going to do is you're going to, if not already in existence, you're going to establish a relationship with this institution, or maybe more than one institution. You might need two. When you establish that relationship, you're most likely going to need to start a savings account with them, or if it's a small local bank, they're going to request, probably push you to establish a checking account. Most credit unions request that you have a small savings account, and they'll keep, maybe $5 in there locked away. And that's kind of like your lifetime membership to that institution. So you want to get that started. Remember your essentials. This may seem rudimentary for some of you, but make sure you bring at least 2 forms of ID when you go to do this. In most cases, most institutions are looking to be able to identify and verify you, and that's usually done with 2 forms of ID, usually a government issued ID and some kind of supporting documentation. So security card, utility bill, pay stubs, lease agreement, things of that nature. Make sure you have that. Establish your checking or savings account, whatever's appropriate for you. You want to obviously make sure that you don't get, some high maintenance checking or savings account that's going to hit you with service fees. Most of these institutions have free checking and free savings account. You want to get that out of the way. Once you've got that done, you're going to take your $1,000, find out the minimum that you need for a secured credit card, and find out the minimum that you need for a secured personal loan. From my research, in most cases, you need a minimum of about $150 to $200 for a secured credit card, and you need about a minimum of $250 for most personal secured loans. So we'll just call it $250 a piece for even that. What you're going to do is you're going to open at least 1 secured credit card, and if the institution provides, 2. If not, you're going to probably have to go to a second institution and establish a separate relationship and get a second secured credit card at that institution. But you will be able, in most cases, to establish 2 personal loans at the same institution. You're going to do 2 secured credit cards, 2 personal loans, $250 a piece. What you're going to do at that point in time now is understand, first off, that when you put the money towards the secured credit cards, you want to check and see with that institution if that money ever comes back to you. Do the secured credit cards ever graduate and release the initial deposit? So you want to check into that before you agree to get that product. But if it does, then that's great. You can start to build a great credit history. You can start to build a great trade line on your account and get your capital back, in the process down the line once you've established yourself with that credit card. If it doesn't, personally, I recommend that $250 is a worthy investment to keep, to basically never see again in order to build that trade line or those multiple trade lines on your account. So you want to do your research on your personal secured credit cards, find out if they graduate at that institution or not. If they don't, personally, I'd say it's worth it. You want to keep that card open pretty much indefinitely, or at least until your credit profile has gotten bulky enough and aged enough to where if you potentially close it, it's not going to be as detrimental to you, which is going to be years down the line. Your personal loans in the vast majority of cases are going to be the simplest, because you're going to take $250, establish that, lock it away in a savings or a CD, establish that personal loan, borrow against it. Ideally, this would be done in a savings account, because what you'll do is the payments that are going to be required for that personal loan, you're just going to have them draft right back out of the $250 that was given to you. So it's pretty much just a cycle. The money's just being recycled through. But what's being accomplished there is now you are laying out a very robust and healthy foundation to your credit profile, because you're going to have 2 revolving lines of credit, and now you're going to have 2 installment loans. Installment loans are very important to your credit profile. I will kind of dare to say that they're underrated. Why are they underrated? Because most, financial channels and, internet resources around credit are constantly promoting credit cards to build and establish your credit. And the reality of it is, some of the biggest, financing purchases you're going to make, buying a home, buying real estate, buying a car, financing a car, those are all installment loans. And so when these different lenders, mortgage lenders, auto lenders are going to run your credit and, to see how well you may qualify for this loan, they're going to want to see loans similar to the type of loan that they're going to be offering you, at least on a minor scale. So your 2 personal loans are going to be key to balancing out your credit profile. You want to build out as evenly as you can if you're starting from scratch or if you're rebuilding. So let's recap. $1,000. One institution may work. You may need to branch out to 2 to get that second secured credit card. But you want to establish a healthy relationship with at least 1 to 2 financial institutions that offer these products. You want to call or stop in and sit down and make sure, or go on their website and make sure they offer these products. And again, with your secured credit cards, you want to see if they graduate or not. That's up to you based on how bad you think you're going to need access to that capital going forward. Once you've established the relationship, you bring your proper IDs, you open a checking or savings that's required to maintain or develop a relationship with that institution, and you immediately dive into their secured loan products. And once you do that, you're going to touch all 5 to 6 of your different credit metrics that calculate out your score and balance out your profile. You're going to be developing a payment history. If you're using your credit cards properly, which we're going to discuss in a later video, then you're going to be developing the utilization portion of your credit profile. You're going to have a very healthy credit mix. You're going to develop age over time, obviously, as you're paying on these accounts, and you're going to be in a great position because you're going to access these accounts, if you do it properly, without a hard inquiry. Because most institutions, when the money is secured, not all, but most institutions will not pull your credit as long as you're putting down the capital. Do your research. So at the end of the day, this is the beginning, the foundation. This is the type of approach that you need to be taking when you're building your credit. I would not recommend going out chasing all of these crazy different strategies on, get this high limit credit card and run over here and get this and that. You don't want to do that. To be honest, in most cases, most of us are not we're not financially stable enough, and most of us don't have the time on our hands to, gamble around with these different strategies that may not be tailored to your situation. The tactic that was just laid out for you is specific for almost anybody. This is going to work and help to bolster your credit profile or develop it from scratch in any scenario. So I hope you found this information to be valuable. Leave a comment, let me know if you would like me to break this down further, or we're going to go into a deeper video series on more tactics and strategies like this to help you build out your profile. We're going to go over different loan products that you may be seeking to get access to in the future and exactly what kind of credit profile you need to get there. So, leave a like, comment, share, subscribe. We're going to be diving deep on these topics. I'm going to make sure that your blueprint is, tailored to you as much as possible, and that this strategy and these various strategies make sense to you and are actionable. This is JP, your financial architect, helping you design your blueprint for prosperity. stay focused, stay in motion. I'll see y'all soon.